So you've decided to start Claymation, but where do you start? One of the best places to start is with your set. The set is going to give your story context as to where it's happening and what's going on. The first place I like to start with the set is the backdrop. The backdrop is going to give your set depth, and it's also going to be one of the first cues as to where you are. To create a backdrop, I start by painting a piece of foam core board, which is fairly sturdy, so it'll hold up to some nicks and bangs if you have some issues setting it up, but it also won't fall over as easily as poster board. If you're filming something inside, you may want to go with a smaller option than foam core board because you're going to want it to be appropriately scaled, but since what I'm filming is outside, a large piece of foam core board makes sense. From there, you're going to need to join multiple pieces of foam core board if you need a side piece of foam core to make up like the sides of a house, or if you're shooting any angular way other than a two-dimensional shot to close off the scene from the rest of your room. My personal favorite way to do this, if I'm going to have a set that's going to remain for a long time, is going to be dowel rods and Elmer's glue to hold them together. The next step is going to be filling up the scene with items that cue the viewer to where the scene is without you having to tell them. What type of clay you're going to need is going to depend on if you need the object to be solid or malleable. If you want it to be solid, I would suggest an air dry clay, or you can get colored clay that doesn't solidify very quickly, that acts kind of like Play-Doh. In order to make the props and objects for your scenes, you're probably going to want some sort of tools. Ideally, your hands do a great job of molding things, but you may also look into some sort of clay modeling tools in addition to get those finer details. Another trick I like to use is to use items that aren't clay. Anything that really breaks up the specific texture to give it an individualistic look. Finally, since Claymation is actually 3D, you're going to want to take special attention to notice the lighting on your set. If you just use the lighting that's in your room, you may catch yourself casting shadows on your set. My personal setup for this is to use LED light strips attached to a piece of plastic board, which helps reflect some of the light, and it's bendable, but it's also more permeable to light than foam board would be. I also go ahead and use a desk lamp that I have on hand to act as key or fill light in order to light up the set, but not necessarily give the set a temperature of color. Once I have everything set up, this is what my set looks like. I really like it because it's simple for a set, but it definitely makes a good quality video. Overall, putting together a set is definitely a project of personal taste, so you kind of have to experiment to get exactly what you like. So the best way to figure out how to build a set is just to go and get started.